Welcome to the Seriously podcast. I'm your host, Annalise Gann. Now let's get into it. Welcome to the Seriously podcast, where we make light of serious conversations with really interesting people. Kacey Watson is one of the most recognisable faces in WA. Not only is Kacey a model, influencer, PT and brand on her own, she has appeared on Heartbreak Island on Channel 7 and is a well-known Instagrammer and TikToker across Australia. With an energetic personality and an interesting story, I wanted to find out who the real Kacey Watson was, so I sent her a DM and the rest is about to be revealed. So here she is, everyone, Kacey Watson. Kacey, welcome to Seriously.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for taking my studio podcast virginity, I guess.
Oh my God, I'm so excited that you're here. I've been trying to get you on for a while.
I know. I'm a hard one to catch, but when you do catch me, it will be good. So I'm hoping today will be great.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I feel super blessed to have you in the studio. Now, when I look you up on Google, the first thing that comes up to describe you is she's fit, has ADHD, and is like an Energizer bunny. Would you say this is a fair description of who the real Kacey is?
I think in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. If you definitely only had 3 words to describe me, I think they're a very good choice of words that reflects what I do in my life. But I think I'm a person of many words, so 3 just isn't enough for me.
You seem very layered and very dynamic, and I love your content. Like, you share photos on videos to your over 300,000 Instagram and TikTok followers across all platforms, which is amazing. How did you get into social media?
It's really crazy. Ever since I was a little girl, my nan will even say that I was just always meant to be on a screen, and I know probably everyone's parents probably told them that, but I, from a very young age, would do fashion shows in front of my family, and that was like my favorite thing to do. When I first got a digital camera in my teenage years, I would spend hours taking photos of my siblings and like myself and creating like funny videos. And I think that's really crazy that that manifested into my adult life, and it was something that I found really fun back then. And when platforms like Instagram and TikTok did come out, I was straight to jump in on them because I thought it was so fun and it was just like a hobby. And I got an amazing platform from it that I'm so grateful for, but it just kind of just fell into my lap from expressing myself, because I think from a very young age that was my outlet to express myself, and I just really, really enjoyed it, and I'm so grateful I can do that in my everyday life now as a living.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love your content. You're also very beautiful, and you're even prettier in real life, which is unfair.
Oh, thank you.
Like, really? Do you have to be good?
It's the lighting.
Yeah, the lighting is good. But I want to ask, like, for people listening who are your fans and like who are into influencing and social media, can you tell me a bit of the pros and cons of your job as being an influencer?
There definitely, I think like everything, there's pros and cons. The pros is I do get to live the lifestyle that I live, and I'm so grateful for the platform and all of my followers that have given that to me. Like, never did I ever think a day in my life when I was younger I could be doing what I did for fun as a kid in my adult life. Like, I always thought, oh, you've got to go to school, you've got to go to uni, you've got to work a 9-to-5 job. So I think that's really beautiful, and I think the connection that I do have with people through my platform is amazing, and just relating to people and hearing their stories and how they feel connected to me or how I've helped them through things is like such a beautiful thing, and why I do what I do is, and finding that people feel like through my expression and my confidence it's given them a sense of that to be okay being themselves is really beautiful. But it does come with a few cons. I think just like anything, when you put yourself out there, some people will like you and some people won't, and that's just normal. Like, I don't think any human could possibly like every single one in the world without lying, or that would be very extremely hard. But when you're in the public eye, I do think people do have a perception of you, even if it is such a small snippet. I do post my life every single day, but you're not seeing all the hours behind that and the layers that are underneath that. Like you said, it's kind of like an onion. Some people are only seeing the top level, and even if they don't like all the layers underneath that, I'm so for that. Like, you don't need to go to my page or whatever, but there are some people that do just stick around, just seem to really want to tell me they don't like me or tell me to get a real job, or I don't know, just have a perception of me and really want to force that on me to accept what their negative opinion is of me. And that goes into like friendships and relationships and people also. I feel like sharing your life as an influencer is a beautiful thing, but sometimes people think that they're owed every part of your life for you to share on there.
Yeah.
Which can be such a hard line to blur. And my partner and I talk about this all the time, as he's like, some things you should just keep to yourself because that is healthy. Like if my entire life was on social media, I think I would be addicted to my phone and feel like do I pull my phone out when I go to the hospital every single time, or when I'm dealing with something that's like a family matter, do I have to pull my phone out then? Which then is like just a real extreme. So, but then it's also hard because when you are talking about subjects like mental health and stuff, I don't want it to seem like that's something you can't share with other people and shouldn't be a topic you should talk about. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. Definitely, I love all the pros, and there's so many more pros and beautiful connections that I do have. But yeah, a real negative that I always experience is people when they first meet me are like, oh, like you're really nice. I thought you were going to be so full of yourself. And I think people always think I'm going to think I'm absolutely amazing, which in a sense I do. And I hope everyone thinks they're amazing. But I honestly, when I'm talking to my phone in my room, I don't think 300,000 people are watching that, hearing that number scares me.
Yeah.
I just think I'm talking to this like little phone in my room and I'm just like, who even watches this? And I don't think that's more important than anyone else in the world. I think everyone's just as important as each other, and that's how I've always been.
Yeah, that's refreshing. And you do have a lot of friends in this industry, like Bronte Schofield. She's really down to earth as well.
She's amazing.
And people think that of all of us influencers. Like people look at us and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were going to be rude," and it's like, why?
Why?
I'm just a human being. Apart from being an influencer, you're a PT.
Yes.
So, are you a qualified personal trainer?
I am. Technically, I am. I'm
That's
not
incredible.
working in it anymore. I did get my personal training cert. I definitely think coming into social media, a big thing of that was sharing my fitness journey when I first started, as that's like that really liberated me to have confidence inside of myself. And something with ADHD, I guess, in my life is going to the gym is the only thing that really helps with my mental health and is a thing that I do to take my brain for a walk, not so much what it looks like on the outside. That's definitely a perk of going to the gym. But I forgot the question.
Oh, you're PT.
PT, oh my God.
Yeah. But like, so what inspired you to become a PT? Would you say it was like, in a way, your ADHD? Like,
Yeah, I think so. I think,
because a lot of athletes have ADHD.
yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
We need a lot of things to keep us going and quiet our brain down. Anything that is more noise and more to do, the quieter our brain is, and it's easier to think. Whereas a normal person will go, listening to a TV and a podcast and having all the lights on in the house would overstimulate other people. Whereas we're like, this is the perfect time to get all my cleaning done and I'm so at peace because my brain can't possibly distract itself. But becoming a PT was definitely to share that journey with other people, and that wasn't the pathway that I ended up going down. But I'm still glad I still have those roles underneath my belt.
Well, you've been on reality TV as well. Heartbreak Island on Channel 7. Can you tell the fans who watched the show, what was your experience like?
It definitely was like a once in a lifetime experience. I think when you watch a TV show versus being on a TV show really opens up your eyes to how things are filmed and how things are created. Like you truly will never know until you're in there just how people even say like on TV it's so scripted or created, but if me and you were having a conversation and there's one camera in this room, but if there were like 7 cameras with people holding them and being like, can you just repeat what we just said? Would I be able to do that naturally? No. I can't even remember what I just said. But it was very fun and I made lots of friendships along the way and it was very interesting and exhilarating. A free trip to Fiji, I guess.
Cool.
But just like anything, it has pros and cons. Like being on an island where you're all forced to be together with a bunch of people you don't know that aren't necessarily going to get along, and I think TV is drama. At the end of the day, we all love drama. I love a little bit, as long as I'm not involved in it. That is what TV's made for and what they're going to create. So they definitely, I think all TV, you've got a pressure, and taking your phone and your friends and your family away and throwing a whole bunch of people together is definitely going to make you learn a lot about yourself and other people. Because I don't think we experience that in this day and age.
Did you find love on the show?
I did, but not in the way that I thought I would. That's for sure. So I went on the show because I got asked to go, and it was around 6 months after I'd just gone through like a very unhealthy relationship, just in that like healing phase after, where I was kind of like, you know what, like I'll just give this a try, like why not? And right before I went on the show, I was in the gym with one of my friends, and I saw this guy, which when I'm in the gym, I don't pay attention to anyone else that's really there. I'm just there with my friends or there by myself with my headphones on. And I was like, oh, like he's kind of cute. And my friend's like, you have never said that, Kacey. You need to go ask for his number. And I was like, no. I was like, no, immediately no. I was like looking at the wall, like he literally turned around. I was like, I am not looking at this man. And she was like, if you don't do it, I will do it for you. And I was like, I'm not the kind of person I don't like that. I was like, I won't say no to a challenge. But I also was so like juxtapositioned, because I've said myself, like, I don't think it's appropriate to approach someone when they're in the gym and they're training for themselves. Like,
true.
I've like said, like, I wouldn't mind if someone did that after, or like left a note of their number and like gave it to me. So I kind of caught him when he was leaving, and I just remember walking up to him and was just like, hi, I'm Kacey, and like word vomiting out and asking if I could have his number. And he just like shakily passed me his phone, which is apparently pre-workout, but I don't believe it. Doesn't last that long. And I gave him my number, and like we caught up for a few dates. And I specifically remember one time sitting on the edge of my bed, and he asked me, what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for a relationship? And I said, look, like I'd love to have a relationship, and like I'd love to have a super healthy partner and like go down that road in future, but it's not where I'm at right now. I'm in my hot girl summer era, focusing on myself. And he was like, good, because I'm not looking for a relationship either. And I was just like, what makes you think I want to date you? Like, wait, where did this presumption come? That I was like, oh my God, no, I'm obsessed with you. After a few dates, like I want to date you. So I really just said, like, give me a good reason. And he couldn't say anything. I was like, I support myself. I have an amazing group of friends. I can take myself on dates. Like, I could probably do a better job at anything you could do for myself, because I know me. I've only known you for a little while. And so we both were just like, okay, we'll just be friends. And I was kind of like, I'm going on this show anyways. Like, I'm going on this dating show. Like, it'll be so fun. I'll probably find love. And then I ended up going on Heartbreak Island, and we like separated for that time. The whole time on the show, I was really like, this is my only time to open myself up and like really try with other people and put myself out there. And in the back of my head, I wouldn't want to admit it, and I couldn't admit it to anyone there. But all I was thinking about was him.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I was just like, get out, get away. Like, this is my one time. And I did kiss people on the show, and I like really did try. But in my heart of hearts, I was still thinking like that connection was so fun, and it was like a friendship. It was like a really good friend. And I came back, and it was a secret that I had come back, and he didn't know. And I was talking to all of my friends, and they were like, he caught up with my friends on dates. One of my friends also cut his hair. He was talking about how much he missed me, and he did not expect himself to miss me that much. And he was just like, she's so different. Like, I've never met anyone like her. Like, her energy, like once you've been around it, it feels weird. And so I surprised him when he came back, and yeah, we've started dating since then.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah.
So is this Tim?
Yes, this is Tim.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how long have you been together now?
It would be close to 2.5 years now.
Oh my
It's
God.
exciting. Time flies.
So do you want like the white picket fence? the ring, the baby? What's your vibe?
Anyone who knows me knows that I like to do things in an unconventional way, but like in my own way, which
Yeah.
I guess is with my job and my career, like the same thing. It's not your typical 9 to 5. It's not
Yeah.
the white picket fence, but a white picket fence would be nice. I do want to be married. I do want that commitment and I do want kids, but at the moment we're just enjoying life and really like wanting to travel.
Yep.
We are thinking about moving to Bali very soon.
Congratulations. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Fingers crossed it works out. I can always come back if I don't like it. But
Yep.
I just think we're at a time where, everyone around us is settling down and talking about kids and having weddings. And I'm just like, I just want to get that last life experiences for myself out there to try something I always wanted to try to do, which was live in a different country.
Cool.
And then maybe come back and settle down if that's how it happens. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm very much just a play it by ear person. If it's right, it's right.
So how old are you?
I'm 25.
25, yeah. So you got heaps of time, and living in another country is an amazing experience. So I hope that works out. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, it definitely will. A little bit scary.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You make Bali look amazing anyway. It'd be great for your career.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can work from anywhere in the world. And so I was like, why am I sitting, especially in this weather in Perth, why am I sitting in Perth?
Yeah, should be in tropical
home?
paradise.
Yeah, especially he works FIFO, so he's away for 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So I'm just at home waiting for him to come home for us to then go travel. And I was like, why don't I wait in a different country and you can just come home and you can come visit me.
That would
and
be
have a holiday every time you come home.
And then you don't get sick of each other.
No, we'd never do. I love it. I'm like, oh my God, you're home. I missed you so much. And then by the end of it, I'm like, okay, go away.
Get out. Okay, now switching lanes a little bit. You were in a car accident a few years ago and you ended up developing foreign accent syndrome because I have noticed you do sometimes sound a little bit British.
Have I sounded it today?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, always happens.
Can you tell us about that and how it manifests in your daily life? I've never met anyone with this condition.
So crazy and so hard to explain. But yeah, I was in a car accident. I did crack the windshield with my head. Like I have a picture of the windshield and my makeup smears on it as well. It's in a car accident. Not a good thing to be in. I remember literally putting my hands on my head from the car accident. Like one hand was touching my head and one hand was out here. I had this massive giant egg on my head. And ever since then, I have an English accent when I talk sometimes. And it will just come up here and there, especially when I'm ranting. If I'm passionate about what I'm talking about or if I'm nervous, it comes up. So in my daily life, whenever I meet someone new, normally I am, like I said to you before we started, I have word vomit when I'm nervous. I will just talk more and more and more. It comes up and people always like, oh, so you're English, where are you from? That's the first thing that comes up. And I'm like, no, not really. And they're like, why? And I have to tell them the story and they're like, I don't believe it. And I'm like, no, if you Google it, it's a real thing. I always say it sounds so fake. And I wish it was. I wish I could have the energy to make this up. But my brain can barely remember if I turned my hair straightener off this morning or locked my door. I'm not going to remember to change my voice every 10 seconds. But some people believe it's fake. They're like, you put that on. You have to put that on. And I was like, to be honest, I don't choose it. It kind of bothers me. I don't really realize I'm doing it at all.
Of course, yeah. So it sometimes comes up, but you are Aussie.
Yes.
Clear the air.
Clear the air. I'm Australian. My mum is Canadian, so I do have her input. I don't think she sounds Canadian at all, but whenever I have her on the phone, my friends are like, whoa, her accent is thick. So sometimes it could be from that, but ever since the accident, I get English all the time.
So how did you recover from the accident? Did you have to have any,
To be honest, I'm still worried that, they pretty much were like, you're fine, your neck's fine. They never did a CT scan on my head or anything. I'm kind of worried about that. My mum's still worried. She's like, you need to get checked and check your head. But they just sent me home. I had crutches because I had a bruise on my foot for pressing the brake because I smacked into the back end of a car that stopped really quickly.
So were you driving?
Yeah, I was driving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was driving home from a night shift. I used to work in aged care. And I literally worked I think it's around a 9-hour shift, and I hadn't slept well the night before. And on the way home, a car stopped really fast in front of me in a 70 zone, and I just could not make that. I pressed my foot on the brake, and the brake did like the pumping thing, which bruised the bottom of my foot. Had a tiny car, like nothing bad happened to the other car. My car was just totaled.
Yeah.
And I think I'm fine apart from the accent. I hope I'm fine after it.
So when did it happen?
It would have been around 5 years ago now.
Okay. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I think I am.
You seem fine to me.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Hey guys, if you've loved listening to the Seriously podcast, we'd really appreciate a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify podcasts. It keeps us making incredible content for all of you to hear. Thanks so much. So apart from that, in terms of your day-to-day, I really want to know, because I'm sure a lot of people are interested, what does a typical day for Kacey Watson look like? Because I'm sure it changes every day.
Oh, it does. That's why I said it's so hard to catch me. Like, I'll get, for example, getting asked to come on a podcast. I'm like, oh, I'm the friend that's always free, or people always reaching me out to me to do modeling and do photo shoots, and I kind of just plan my structure around that. But a typical day, I'll wake up, I'll go to the gym, I'll check my phone, check all my collaborations. I then have to normally create content or go to a photo shoot, film something, or I sit on my phone. A lot of the time I'm sitting on my phone, editing stuff, combing through everything. Normally call my partner when he finishes work, or if he's home, have dinner and go to sleep. Like, it's like a 9-to-5 job, but my phone is my 9-to-5 job, which can look really bad. Like, lots of people think, oh, she's on her phone all the time. But I'm like, no, that's my work. And my work never really shuts off, because I can get messaged at any time in the day. And I will check it. I can't stop myself from checking it. I'm always checking it, which I don't complain about. But yeah, that's me. It'll change from day to day of what I'm going to do and who I'm going to see, which is really fun and good for me, because I get bored very easily. So I love to just try anything new.
Variety. Do you have a manager?
No, I do everything myself.
Okay. Have you thought about being managed?
I have. It would definitely take the load off. But then again, I do really like the experiences I get with creating networks with the brands that I do work with. Like, a lot of them turn into family and friends in the most business way possible. And I get to reach out to them and really express, like, what kind of content would you like? Can you show me? And then I can show them, like, hey, I would love to create this for you because this is my style. Because content creation is such a wide, diverse range of things.
Yeah.
Like, people just think, oh, I'll snap a picture. That's my job. That's it for the day. But everyone's so different in how they create it. It can be a get ready with me where you're talking. It can be a podcast. It can be just photos. It can be so many different things. I would like management in the sense that it would be a lot easier. But then again, I do like having a choice in what I am doing, because I think that's so important when you do have an audience that knows you. If you do anything if I was to promote something that I didn't agree with, I don't think that would align with me. It would align with them, and then I wouldn't feel as real and raw as I do when I select them myself. Yeah,
and you have a really good intuition, I've noticed, on social media.
Really?
Yeah, like they say, like, the best content creators and influencers have a really good, strong intuition of what their fan base know they want. Because I've noticed your engagement's really high.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think I do. To be honest, it's just me, and I find that with my personality, because it is so layered and it is very much ADHD Energizer Bunny, like, I can be a lot to an average person, but the people who do like that are gonna align with a lot of things that I do and my brain and how it works. And so I think sticking to myself is what started my platform to begin with, and what made people like me. So to go outside of that wouldn't be on brand for me or my followers and what they would want.
Exactly. Talking about ADHD, so was it a surprise when you got diagnosed, and what's the response been?
I guess it wasn't, looking back now, it wasn't a surprise. Like, I think my family look back now and they're like, definitely not a surprise at all. But it was initially. So in my family, like, no one was diagnosed. I was definitely a middle child. I was definitely a very loud child, still like I am now. I had the confidence of, like, 900 and I would go at 900 miles an hour. My family still say I was that kid that woke up at 4 a.m. in the morning and like wanted to go do stuff. I would never sleep, would never go down for nap time. I was always just sitting talking to anyone and everyone. But when I went into high school, I really struggled just to sit still in the classroom and retain information, especially if I wasn't interested in it. If I was interested in it, it was great. But I still went to high school and I still like passed ATAR and was like fairly smart, but I felt like I had to work 10 times harder to make myself focus in the classroom. And then when that came to going to uni, which I did go to uni for a few years, I just really, really struggled. And and then you move out of home and you have to do your daily living tasks and your parents aren't there to be like, hey, you need to clean your room. Hey, you need to do your laundry. Hey, this is a meal time, which is like I really struggle with now that I live alone a lot of the time as well. I was like, well, like my brain doesn't pick up on these things. And I just felt, the way I explain it to people is, I felt like Tarzan in the movie where he grows up with these monkeys and he's doing everything like them, but he just can't keep up. Like he just feels like, I'm not you like you guys. I'm not fitting in, but I'm a monkey and that's all I ever know. And then he meets these humans and realize, hey, like I actually walk on 2 feet and I can travel the world. I can do all these other things. And I've been trying to apply myself in a place where I don't necessarily fit in, and that's not a bad thing. Like I can do all these other things. And so once I was diagnosed, it wasn't about a label or an excuse for, oh, I can't concentrate, I can't do these things, I have ADHD and a cop out, which a lot of people think it is. It was more understanding, oh, this is how my brain works and I can apply myself better knowing that I don't necessarily suit a classroom where I sit down and just put my head down and do book work. I can do visual learning, I can do hands-on learning so well, and applying that to daily tasks in my life, which sometimes does mean putting the TV on and putting a podcast on and having 2 different things that are purposely distracting me so my brain doesn't distract itself. And so I can get the task done that I need to do. But it was just so, it kind of just felt like, oh, I can finally understand myself, because I always thought something was really wrong with me, or I just don't fit in, or no one else struggles like I do. That it was just like, you're just lazy, just try harder to sit down and focus. And I was like, I physically can't. My brain wants to be somewhere else. And it was really cool. After I got diagnosed, my younger sister got diagnosed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she struggled as well. And then my mum, who didn't believe I had ADHD in the beginning with, she was having like a lot of health and like stress problems, which does manifest when you have undiagnosed ADHD. The 2 biggest symptoms is like anxiety and depression, especially in women, because it's internalized more than the boys that you see that are more have it externalized. And she just got diagnosed as well. And a lot of people in my family, and just to see the change in like reduced anxiety, reduced depression and happiness in all of our lives, coming to terms with a diagnosis was like so beautiful. And for us to all come together and finally understand each other was really, really great.
That's good. So it's been a positive experience for you.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Medication? Are you medicated?
Not at the moment. I have had medication and I do take it when I need to take it, if I feel like I need to. I definitely think ADHD is a spectrum of learning how to cope. And when I first went on medication, I like really loved it. And I was working a 9-to-5 job where I would take this and I was like, okay, now I can complete task A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And now in the life that I do have, I kind of have a life that's for my ADHD where I can do things at different times of the day. I can work at 11 o'clock at night if I really want to.
Yeah, true.
I can do things in that way. I'm like, do I need medication for this? And if I feel like I do for that day and I'm just not getting things done like I want to, I can have it. But otherwise, if I just want to be me and function the way that I do and the way I do best, I can not do it and just use like the tools that I've learned through therapy to help get things done.
That's really fascinating. And I think what you said, like you don't work a traditional 9-to-5 at the moment, this society is so set up for neurotypical people.
Oh, 100%.
Like wake up at the same time every day, go to work. Like it's such a routine. And like if your brain doesn't, it like doesn't thrive on that, it can be really hard.
Yeah,
'cause
you're set up to fail.
pretty much.
And people will think you're a failure. Like, you just don't try hard enough. Like, that's what you do. You go work in an office 9 to 5 and there's nothing else to do. And I feel like when I was in high school, it was very much that way. Like, you go to uni, you get a job, work for the man, and that's what you do. But now the world is changing and we do have things like content creation
Yeah.
and like all of these other pathways through social media. And you are seeing the rise of people starting their own at-home businesses and doing way better and working that way. But I would like to see it reflect more in education, because I feel like people with ADHD, or sometimes people just not with ADHD, but people that don't, there's only one way to learn. We're told to sit down and read a book and pick up the theory and then do a test on it. That's the only way. When the human brain, it's proven there's so many different types of way people learn.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that with like Montessori schools and stuff, but I would like to see that more, because I do think school is just so hard if you're not one of those people that can just pick it up. And you can be smart in so many different ways than book smart. And then your career and what you would manifest in your life, you'd be so much better at your job. And so many brains are made for so many different jobs in array, rather than just going to uni and whatever you fall into and stick with that until the end of your life, where you might be unhappy.
I love that. Yeah, I really like how you said that. It's important to acknowledge that everyone has different strengths and capabilities. And I feel like, because my sister was diagnosed with ADHD a few years ago, and my brother. So
and you know the experience.
Yeah, I've grown up around it, so I'm used to like a lot of energy, and I've never been diagnosed. But even for like, my sister is academic, but she has only just stuck to a uni degree now. She's medicated because she couldn't, and she's so smart. And it's like what you're saying, like it's just like that system is not created for neurodivergent people. Like it's hard.
Yeah, when I went to uni, I was honestly pulling my hair out. Like, my scalp was bleeding because I would be like scratching my head, literally scratching my head so hard while I was studying. And it is, I was smart enough to do the content. It was just applying myself.
Yeah.
My body was just like, and
It's
my brain was like,
application.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And it's interesting that hopefully like things start to change now. We have things like TAFE and like practical learning, where people with ADHD do seem to work better. And it's interesting when people do come out of uni and go into a job that does have a practical role, how many people that are book smart don't actually follow through with that career, because the practical side is just not their forte and what they're good at. But it would be so much better if you could have more of that mixed together.
I love that. I love your message. You're such an inspiration to so many people. Kacey, I want to ask, what's next for you? Have you got any plans?
Yeah, so when I say we're thinking of moving to Bali, I mean in 4 weeks' time. This is a secret, by the way. This could be a little podcast thing. No one really knows this apart from my friends.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I have recently like packed up all my winter stuff and all my things that I'm not taking with me and taken it to my parents. Tim and I have picked tenants for our apartment. And so I have a date by June 18th to be out of my house and over in Bali in a villa, which is really scary. I'm like, that's why I'm so, that's why it's been hard to catch me at the moment. I've been trying to tie up lots of loose ends.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, so that's what's next for me, and just really trial that out and see how I go. And I think you learn a lot about yourself when you put yourself in places where you haven't tried it before. Like going on the show, I learned a lot about myself. Going out into the adult world, you learn a lot about yourself, and being on your own is such a huge thing. And I feel like I'm on my own a lot here in Perth, but I'm comfortable. I have friends, I have family. It's Australia. I speak the language, but throwing myself into a different country and making new friends as an adult and trying new things and living a different lifestyle will really make me learn a lot about myself, which is something I love to do. I'm always a yes man. That's something my partner actually really loves about me. He's like, he can ask you to do anything and you'll give it a red hot crack, even if you're really bad at it. So that's really what's next for me. And I hope all goes well and I like it. But I'm just such an open person. If I don't like something, that's fine. I can always go back to what you're doing, and I could just come back here and be in the same life, but I'll never know until I try.
Congratulations. That's really exciting. I'm really grateful that you came on the pod today, and I've learned so much more about who the real Kacey Watson is, and I'm sure the listeners are going to love it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've just been talking my head off for the past few hours.
That's what we love. Thank you so much,
Amazing.
Kacey,
Thank
for
you for
coming on.
having
Seriously,
me.
where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Kacey Watson, with 2 N's, and the same on TikTok as well, if you want to see my face and hear the rambling again.
Yeah, we do. Thanks so much, Kacey, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys, for having us this week. We'll catch you next week for another episode and another guest. Bye.